Hello, welcome, what is up? How are you doing? I hope you're doing very well. My name is BradWOTO, and some of you will remember me from WOTO. Some of you will remember me from being that guy in the back of PewDiePie videos. Some of you will know me from Twitter, just for being the person who posts jokes on Twitter, but you're probably not here if you're one of those people that just finds me through comedians. Some of you might know me from my Twitch streams, of which most of them are D&D based, that's right. The ultimate nerd game possible. I am sort of sat here, I'm testing out my microphone, I'm testing out my new setup. I've got some like sound proofing, sound dampening things, and I've got some cool microphone stuff, and I was testing out all of this stuff. I was testing out how it sounds through Audition, and I thought, hey, this sounds kind of nice. It sounds kind of like podcasts, you know, it's got that kind of radio sound. Hello, welcome to the Buffwoto Podcast, episode 0. That's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, why I have all this nice stuff. Do I have the ability to make a podcast? Shall I make a podcast? Let me hear your suggestions if I was to do one. You know, if we had some guests, various YouTubers, streamers, some of my friends, something like that, would you be interested? What do you think? Let me hear it. Everything. What do you think? Guests? What guests would you want? What type of production would you want? Would you want some sort of visual? This would all be done over the internet, so it would be quite difficult to record us sat in a room and talking to each other, but I could maybe work out something as an interesting visual. I could chuck some gameplay on it. We could do a Leafy and put some CSGO, I don't know, Overwatch, COD, I don't know, just some mind-numbing thing that's ticking over in the background or not. Do you need that? Are you more focused on what people are saying? That's the question. That is my only question here today, but just to give this video a little bit of substance, I was sort of thinking like, well, who am I? Why would I even do a podcast? What have I earned? Where am I? Where did I go? Where have I been? What do I do now? How about we answer some of those questions, because it's kind of difficult to work like, where have you been? What happened? So let's hear that story. How about a little bit of a quick life story? Not life story, we don't want to go all the way back to the beginning. That's not a nice story. It's probably an interesting story for you, but it's not a nice story. So we'll save it. We'll save that. Maybe it's not the worst story. There are worse stories, but you know, it's not light-hearted. Where am I going with that? Let's just move on to something else. Liam left. So we have World of the Orange. YouTube.com/WOTO. World of the Orange. That was my YouTube channel. I created it with Liam. Me and Liam ran this kind of thing for a few years, mostly while I was finishing off university. Liam was working from home, so he had a lot more free time where he didn't commute and stuff to work. So both of us started this YouTube channel. We spent a lot of time and effort into trying to grow the thing, trying to you know, make it professionally, whilst also, you know, having fun with it. It was a very original channel. I think one of the things that we managed to do with that channel is keep it very original. Keep it kind of it sort of straddled that line, 'cause it's very difficult to make money on YouTube without having lots and lots of paid for promotion branded stuff, which can kill a channel, because a lot of people will reject that, especially back in the day. I think it's warmed up. People have warmed to it a little bit more now, but back in the day, no, you couldn't just do constant branded stuff. And I think we did a fairly good job of kind of making original content. And I mean original. We weren't just doing, you know, your average challenge. If we did a challenge, it was very rare, or we would adjust it or make up our own. We did all of our own original things. Games like Jurassic Park, completely original, but totally able to be recreated and stuff by other people. But we didn't do it with that intention. We just wanted original content, hashtag content. It did okay. It did very well during 2013. We had a kind of lift off when we changed the entire format of the channel, got a lot of guests on, did a lot of collaboration. The channel did pretty well. But then these things happen, you don't earn enough money. And the annoying thing about the world we live in is that you basically need money to live in the way, you know, we had a certain quality of life. It wasn't like no one's living in condos. Me and Emma were living in a shitty little freezing cold apartment, but me and Liam had you have a certain quality of life. And by that, I literally mean, you know, we're not sat starving in Sudan. We're literally living, you know, just outside of London. And I want to be able to afford bread and milk. And it was actually quite difficult to do that. So Liam said, "Fuck that! I don't just want Tesco value bread and milk. I want real bread." So he went and got real bread, and he went and did that by getting other bread money, and that was quite difficult. So what happened there for me is that Liam left, and I didn't really. He took a job. He accepted a job, and then ran off and took this job. Worked for Google. Good job. You don't turn down a job from Google, you know. And and that left me in a very difficult predicament because I just lost the entire channel in doing that, because Liam was the channel in as much as I was the channel. So when one of us isn't on it, it's just there's nothing. You know, we'd built up a channel, and I had built up a certain type of comedy in which I would riff off of someone else. I couldn't really run a solo channel. I sort of tried for a couple of months there. I tried because I didn't really have a choice. I was so hungry. I didn't have any bread, so I wanted some bread, and I had to try and make a bit of money. We had a couple of videos that did okay, but with me as a solo act, but mostly it was just going downhill. It was dire straits by the end of it, and everything just got harder on YouTube as well. YouTube is hard, and YouTube changed their algorithm. It started to do that thing where it would funnel the views upwards to the larger YouTubers. You'll see now there's not a lot of your own videos on the sides of your what is it called? The related links. You don't see on the related links your own videos as much. You'll see other just random shit recommended for you, and nobody wants that. You want your videos to be recommended to your audience, and but YouTube needed to make money. YouTube hasn't made a fucking penny, has it? So from a business perspective, yeah, you need to funnel that money upwards, those views up to where the higher revenue ads are, like capitalism. Funnel all that money up. That was around that same time, so it was quite difficult for smaller channels, and it has been ever since then for smaller channels to grow. It was around that time I met Mr. Felix Kirchberg, who is a very good friend of mine, and his girlfriend and my girlfriend met on sort of around Halloween that year, and we were hanging out after that at some point, and he was saying that he needed an editor. I said, "Hey, I'll edit a couple of your videos if you want, for some cash, some hard cash, a bit of hard cash in hand." And I started helping him out around then, you know, just bits and pieces, beginning of last year. That paid in and of itself for my bread, and I just stepped away from YouTube for a bit, at least directly interacting with YouTube as myself, as BradWOTO, and just became sort of an extension, an arm of PewDiePie, and it's great. I love it. I still am. I'm still doing that. I'm still heavily involved in the PewDiePie channel. I love it. I love him. I love all the people that I work with, and it's good times. And in doing that, he offered me a bag of solid gold coins and gems. I took it, and then I started getting into other shit. I got into like Twitch and stuff like that. I got into like D&D. No one cares about this. No one cares. No one cared. The audience that I had come from, you know, that vlog side, like Carrie and Alex Day and that, and they were the ones. Most of our audience came. We had a huge chunk of our audience come from Carrie, and she. It's way past my bedtime on YouTube, and that audience is not interested in Twitch and gaming, and it's a completely different audience to PewDiePie's for the most part. I'm sure a lot of people are subscribed to both, but you know what I'm talking about. Shut up. So I ended up just being kind of myself. I sort of spent about a year sort of just rediscovering myself a bit. I was able to step away from YouTube, concentrate on just having fun. I was just enjoying myself. You know, if I'd play a game, I would just stream it, not necessarily because I wanted to grow my channel and, you know, funnel people over to my YouTube channel, just because I wanted to play a game, but still sort of connect with an audience. It's nice to have an audience and connect with them and speak to you guys and stuff like that. But then I just got into D&D like a complete loser and a complete nerd. It was this thing that I didn't really understand. I got into Twitch. A lot of people were into it, and I kind of played a couple of games, and it was really fun. And it was just a game that I'd missed out on. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, so just coming straight over from that RPG Skyrim world into just this other game, tabletop game. I just enjoyed it, and I got into that, and I sort of found out I was quite good at it as well in terms of being a DM, a dungeon master, a game master. I'm just pretty good at it, so I've ended up playing that a lot, got quite good at it, and a few people have asked me to DM for them, and I've got involved in a lot of D&D projects on Twitch, so I'm involved in that community quite a lot. I still didn't really know, like, who I was, you know, because I had all these different audiences by this point, and this is where we are now. I'm at this point where I just have all these different audiences, that different people, this weirdly split audience. You know, I've got this original audience, World of the Orange, which came from Carrie, Alex, people like that. I've got a few people that just follow me on Twitter just because I just post jokes on Twitter. I don't really post anything else. I'll sort of maybe mention I'm streaming, and then I go back and delete a lot of tweets. I delete a lot of random tweets like that, just because I like my Twitter to just be a joke feed. I don't know why. I think it just makes me feel like the stand-up comedian that I'll never be. You know, I've got like a Twitch audience as well. It's this third separate audience coming in. It's just a handful of people who watch me play games, and then there's a larger audience that watch me play D&D on Twitch. So I have this sort of subgroup of Twitch, which is D&D, from being a sort of fairly-ish, popular-ish GM. And then I have the PewDiePie audience, just by being in and around the PewDiePie world. I've got all these various people from PewDiePie, just all these kids, just like, hey, you're that one from the PewDiePie. I'm like, yeah, that's me in the background. It's me involved and stuff like that. So there's just this fucking... I just have my personal tiny little microcosm of an audience is really confusing, because they're all different, and they're all here for a different side of me, a different portion of me. And so I thought, well, there is no way I can please all of them. You know, the PewDiePie crew want me to upload gameplays or stuff like that. The D&D group only want to see like D&D. Some people on Twitter are like, why are you posting this video? I don't care about this YouTube video, write a joke. And then there's all of the original WOTO crew who want me to sit on a sofa with Liam, and I just can't do it. It's impossible. Both of us are too busy, and we live in different places now. So I thought, well, I don't know how to do that. And I was fucking about with this setup. And I thought, well, why don't I just do like a podcast? And then people can just tune in. Somewhat, people who give a fuck about me can tune in and listen to me chat shit a bit like now. And anybody else who wants to tune in for maybe a guest, if I get a guest on, can tune in for that guest. For example, I'll get Liam on, and that will satisfy the WOTO audience. You know, I'll discuss some Twitter things with maybe some other Twitter comedian, and we can talk about how Twitter comedy works, and that will sort of satisfy the Twitter joke community that I've garnered. I can grab a couple of Twitch streamers, and we can talk about Twitch and streaming and things, D&D streamers, or D&D game masters and stuff, and we can talk about that. And I can grab PewDiePie and maybe even someone like, I can grab PewDiePie. He might be my friend, but he's fucking busy. I'm sure if I can do something. But, you know, I got a couple of people from just the PewDiePie group, you know, like Ken or Jack or someone. I'm sure they'd spare an hour for me to just chat, and we can talk about that. And I feel like it's one of the only ways that I can satisfy all of the audiences, and also sort of find my own place a little bit, because it's quite difficult having all these different audiences and also not having a lot of time to satisfy all of those things. It takes a lot of time to do all these things, and by the time I finish doing my sort of day job, helping out Pewds and run that whole world, I just kind of want to sit down and kick back. And I think doing a very short podcast every so often, a sporadic podcast, would maybe satisfy that. Each audience, everyone, sort of, people can either listen to it for just listening, or they can tune in for specific people or specific subjects and just sort of get a take on it. And I'm getting old now. See, one of the things that happens when you get old is that you sort of know you can talk shit about anything, and I think I'm pretty good at talking shit for a decent amount of time. I can't promise it'll be interesting, but I think I can talk shit, and if you're just happy with listening to someone talk shit for a bit, yeah, maybe we do something like that. So let me know what you think, if you think it's a good idea. This is sort of a short, I guess this would be a sort of taster. This would be episode 00 if it's a thing that we take off with. The Buffwoto Podcast, I reckon. Yeah, let me know if you wanna hear me shoot the shit with some people, various YouTubers, streamers, friends, and we'll see what happens. Live life, you know, like me. Why not take it middle of the road to the grave? Let me hear what you think, and any suggestions. You know, just again, everything from guests to production, what you'd want to see, or how you'd want to hear it, how you think it would go. Again, this is the test for my audio as well, so I have no idea how this sounds, and I'll probably do some tinkering, adjusting, and stuff like that. Thanks for listening. Good to see all of you in one place. Great. Bye.
I got